Ever since I was a kid, I love the ocean. And so it comes as no surprise that as an artist, I love to paint the ocean. I love the way it moves and how it creates foam and how it can be so powerful and yet soft and gentle at the same time. As the viewer, remember that watching somebody paint is learning how to paint. And that is what we're going to be doing. Alright everybody, this is a painting I did actually a couple months ago now. And I really like it, although I think I want to rework some things in it to really finish it up, because I thought it was finished, but the more I look at it, the more I see some changes I want to make. But first, I'm just going to go over quick the general concept that I had in mind when I did this painting. And that is, we have the sun shining from our backs directly into the painting. There's a background storm front coming in over the sea into the foreground here, but it's still a ways away, and the waves are rough and getting kicked up by that storm. But like I said, the light source is behind us coming in like this to the painting, and you'll notice there is a shadow line that comes across right like that. The idea for that was I wanted to have there be the suggestion of a sea cliff at our backs that the sun is shining over the top of, and it just creates this shadow that goes over the entire foreground area. So that was the idea that I had for it, and as much as I like it, there's just a few changes I want to make to it. And basically what those changes are is I want to change the direction of the light source from behind us to more at an angle coming in from the side here. So I'm going to take away this shadow line that goes across like that, and I'm going to probably add in some light up here and just change the lighting a little bit. And also I'm going to add some more definition to this wave. I think there's a little bit more we could add to it, and also the rocks. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, everybody, quick update. First painting session yesterday is complete. Today, after letting it sit overnight, I decided I didn't really like the sky, so I took this shop towel here and I actually rubbed the sky back a little bit. It kind of took a lot of, well, actually, I guess what it accomplished was it didn't wipe back all of the paint. There is still a lot that I did yesterday still on here, but it just kind of smudged everything like you'd expect. And it created a nice softening effect, which I actually like now. Basically, what I've noticed is it looks like the light is coming in like this, which I like. I like the dreamy glow effect I've got going on here. The foreground still looks like it's in shadow, but I'm okay with that because this area back here looks shadowed, and I decided that I want to make it look like there are pockets of light shining through the storm that the background sky suggests. So I'm going to brighten things up and I'm going to leave things dark. And I want to leave the rocks the way they are relatively, although you can see in a few spots here, I have gone and taken a lighter blue color. It's got a little bit of brown in it to tone it down a little bit, but it's basically a light blue, and I'm kind of dry brushing some of that light blue onto certain areas of the rocks where it looks like it might be reflecting some light because it's wet. Remember, it's going to stay in shadow pretty much, so I don't need to go crazy with this, but I want to give the rocks more of a wet look, and so that's what I'm working on right now. But there's one major thing that I don't like about the composition right now, and that is this area right here. It just seems like there's a bit of a blank here. You got the sky looking pretty good, and then you got this wave across here that's catching some of that light poking through the clouds like this, you know, coming down at this angle, and then the foreground is shadowed. But this area here, there's not a lot going on, and I want to address that now. So I think I'm going to keep it all just water, but I want to add a little bit more interest here. I'm not gonna. I fiddled around with putting a rock in here, but I didn't like that, so I'm gonna leave it just water and just add a little bit more interest, I think. Alright, this is just about finished. All I have left to do is add some bright titanium white highlights to this part of the painting to suggest direct sunlight, whereas the foreground is shadowed, like we talked about. You can see I also did change the water back here a little bit to my liking. I've added interest into this area, and I think it works. I am a big fan of foam in ocean paintings. I just love to see how the foam looks. So that's one of my favorite things to paint and add into my seascapes. And I'm really happy with this area. Overall, I think it is done. I just am going to add those final titanium white highlights to this area, and we're gonna call it done.